o'clock, I'm gonna bring the Dunbarton Board of Selectmen meeting to order. We're gonna have a redo on that. Okay, being 7 o'clock, I'm gonna bring the Dunbarton Board of Selectmen meeting to order for Thursday, May 13th, 2021. We did have a special start time earlier at 6:30 to discuss some, previous business. Let's get this old business out of the way first here, let's go over the, meeting minutes from the previous meetings.
I'll make a motion to approve the regular minutes of April 29th as amended.
Second. Motion made, second, all in favor? Give me the second ones, the other one's too late. Do them all at once. Bob, you wanna make a motion on that?
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve the non-public minutes of April 29th at 8:08 PM, as written.
Okay. I've got one here at 8:05 and one at 8:46, so maybe it's this one. Motion's been seconded, I'll second the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
You can second already.
Nope.
Okay. I missed you, Tom.
It's good, you look good.
Okay, and the last one.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the non-public minutes of April 29th, there's no time after that one.
This one's 8:46 PM.
8:46?
Yeah.
Okay. 8:46, as written, I didn't see any changes from what I looked at it, so.
I'll second Bob's motion. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that takes care of those. And now I'm gonna go over the, non-public we had at the request of, Selectman Mike Kaminsky. The board had a meeting with, two of the officers, Chris Rumlard and Brian Tyler, in reference to their additional duties that we're requiring them to do. Well, the chief is, has some personal issues going on, and, we as a board came up to an agreement to give, Brian Tyler an additional $200 a month, and Chris Rumlard an additional $400 a month for their continued service to the town and their additional duties that we're requiring of them, even though they're not in the positions of those jobs except for temporary positions. So, we reviewed that with them, and, that was, part of our previous meeting. We also, in a non-public, looked at a hiring, for a cleaning person for this building here. And, Lean and I'll be doing a follow-up interview, next week on that.
Dave, excuse me, can I ask you
Yeah.
to make a motion on the 200 and
Yeah, I'm
400
sorry,
so that
okay.
you can make it official?
I'll do that. I'll make a motion that we, as a board, agree to pay Brian Tyler $200 more per month starting at the end of May here. And going until January 1st, Mike. And to include in that motion, paying Chris Remillard, starting at the end of this month, $400 more a month. And Chris right now has got the job of assistant chief, or step-in chief as need be, and Brian Tyler is, step-in as sergeant.
And I'll second the motion.
Motion's been made and seconded.
Discussion, I just wanna, and this is a temporary, measure until, this could be suspended earlier, if there's an earlier promotion for these gentlemen. Permanent promotion. Just a point of order. That's been my discussion.
Okay, that being adjusted there, on the amended motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And the last thing on here is, we also had a discussion in non-public, for the Board of Selectmen to review the next chief's contract. So we're gonna be reviewing that and, setting that up, hopefully, setting up a contract with the next, chief in Dunbarton that will start January of 2022. Okay, that's all those updates. I'd like to open up quick for public comment if anybody has one. All set for now? Name for the camera,
Patrick Bell, transfer station manager.
okay.
I don't know if you want me to bring it up now, but I have some concerns and things that are going on down there. So I don't know if you want to talk in another point, or.
Point of
Hold
order,
on just a second.
public comment, it can be on the agenda, but it shouldn't be under public comment.
Okay. I guess Woody would like to start bringing them up instead of during public comment as a, agenda item.
Okay.
If we call Lena, we'll line that up and put it on the agenda. And part of these meeting minutes here, I think are gonna go fairly quickly, so we could maybe do something
Okay.
towards the end.
You'll be able to take care of it, you know, but, I just want public comment to be for the public,
Yeah,
and whatever comments.
our meetings are real small right
Yeah,
now.
I wasn't sure because one minute it's okay to talk about it, next minute it's not okay to talk
Yeah.
about it.
Well, no, because it
Bounce
drags
around.
it out, so, you know, so just we can get to the business.
Okay. So we'll bring that back at the end. So right now, we're gonna go to Don Larson discussing a, cemetery trustee, has a sinkhole in the center cemetery.
Yes, and it's right behind you.
Up against this wall there, Don?
It's, I don't know what caused it, but it just, it washed out. And what I've done, I called the, Mike Horn at Cemetery, New Hampshire Cemetery Association, asking what the situation, you know, if it affects the grave. Ours does not affect the grave right now. And he said, just fill it in. So I was leaving, the office today, and I saw these guys over here working, so I went over, and Kevin, the owner of the company, I says, would you have time to fill in a sinkhole? He said, well, let's go take a look at it. So we went over here, we looked at it, and he said, $35. So I says, do it. He was gonna do it tomorrow, but the one thing I wanted to ask, to get permission from the selectmen, if we need gravel or something like that, can we get it from the town garage? It won't take a lot, but, you know,
I don't think it'll be a problem, just ask Jeff.
huh?
I don't think there'll be a problem with that, just ask Jeff, so he'll tell you where to get it.
Yeah,
We gotta
okay,
make sure we don't get the salted pile or whatever else.
yeah.
So I don't think that'll be a
He's
problem.
gonna,
Now, there's some stones against the building, it's not gonna affect the stone, is it?
no, it shouldn't.
Okay.
You could look out there, it's like 5 feet from the wall.
Yeah, it's about 6-7 feet away from the building and that, and it's not affecting any graves, cause it's still within the.
And how about the machinery he's bringing in, isn't gonna hurt the graves either?
No, it shouldn't.
Is he gonna do with a wheelbarrow, or how's he doing?
Well, they're gonna come in straight in, and there's plenty of lawn there, so they'll be able to come straight in, wheelbarrow the materials in.
Okay,
And they're gonna bring a tamper and tamp it real good, you know, compact it. So, I figured for $35, well, I'll pass a hat tonight and have you guys each put in 20 and, you know, make a little money on it here for the cemetery. But, that's where we are there. We let out the bids on all 3 of our warrant articles, and that, went to the lowest bidder. And we got, plenty of, bids from other people in that, but they were all higher than the lowest bid, obviously. So, the tree removal is gonna start, next week. We've notified all the abutters, and, we haven't heard back from anybody, so it's not too bad.
and you're only taking a limited amount of trees at the cemetery up here, the Page's Corner, because a lot of them are on the
Yeah,
property.
so I'm gonna have them start at east and work their way.
And had you heard anything from the abutter there about the, trees that are on their land that are leaning over?
Well, they're gonna harvest them, but he said in the near future, and what that means, I don't know. But we do have permission to take trees that are leaning and stuff like that, so there's about 6 or 7 on his border that we're gonna take out. The biggest one is on the south end, which is about 3 foot in diameter. And that, dead ash tree. And, aspen, Sam Harris he's done work before the town before, some tree removal and stuff like that.
He was your
He
bidder?
contacted the lady with Aspen, and they came by and marked the trees on 13, so, Jim Dow that's gonna be doing the work and that, I'll let him know about that, plus, ASP, our landscaper, took one of the trees that was leaning over on Monuments in
saw
East
that.
Cemetery, and took that out. So what we're gonna do is the road that goes straight back here, there's overhanging limbs. They're gonna trim all those and all the way around in preparation to put in a road down, at that lower level, cause we wanna develop that next year. And that, to expand, Center Cemetery.
And, who did you award the tree oh, you said Jim Dow, I think.
Right now,
Your tree contract went to Jim Dow,
Jim Dow.
and he's gonna use the proper equipment, cranes and whatnot to lift up to make sure you don't
Bucket
hurt.
trucks, stuff like this, and, he uses has a guy climbs the tree and
Yeah,
all that, and, Mike's used him before, so, yeah,
okay, well, make sure you get your insurance paperwork and stuff from them, and
yeah, we've got, everything rolling, so the trees will go down, the road goes in June or July, once it dries out, and with this drought, well, it might be the end of the month, who knows? But, and then, the maze garden will be done, later this summer also.
okay, I think Leo, you had a question?
Yeah, I'm just curious, Don, you have no idea what the cause of sinkhole?
What?
The sinkhole?
Well, we went out and we looked and ran it all the way down the basement, the water, see if there's any moisture. It's pretty dry, that's the whole thing, it's not damp. So-
It's odd that it would just all of a sudden happen that way. I'm just curious.
I was wondering if the stump of the tree, but it's way off there and it's
Well,
right out
the
here.
big maple they took out here years
Yeah.
ago.
So I can't imagine it's a root that goes from all the way out there to here.
Yeah,
It's not close enough.
I'm just curious, it's an odd thing,
I have no idea, my first thought was, there's water around here someplace. And there is a little water table in that, but, it looked like it's been working on it for quite a while, so.
You didn't have a grave robber in there.
Fortunately, there's no grave on it, but. But it's the oldest part, but, I'm not familiar with sinkholes, I have to trust, people around me.
Yeah, right, and I guess it just can happen anyway, could be water flowing through underneath and we don't know it.
That's the first thing you did, went downstairs to see if there was water.
Yeah.
And
Just curious.
Well, once they come out, they'll probably open it up a little bit more to get the material in there, and we'll be able to see more. They're doing tomorrow afternoon, so.
One of them wooden caskets finally gave in.
Yeah. But
Big boil in there originally, right?
I thought, if there's, if it's around a grave in that, why, or a grave was in it, why then we gotta move the body and all this good stuff, but,
There's nothing.
fortunately, we don't have that. But we'll see how big it is once we get all the sod back and, take a look. But, we gotta start somewhere.
Yep.
So,
Okay, well, thanks for the update, Don.
yeah,
Okay, we're gonna just continue this discussion pretty quickly here. Reviewing the mask mandate and, office hours. As you guys know, we did open up the town office again, for business, but we have required people to keep their mask mandate on. There's been some updates from the state just as early as today. As I can see, some people are already respecting no mask. I just got my shot last week, so I'm gonna have mine this week, but I'm hoping in 2 weeks to have none.
Good for you.
So, Bob or Mike, do you wanna say any more about that? I think you guys heard it on the news today.
It was on the news this morning, but Fauci was on TV again and telling people that you don't have to wear if you had your 2 shots of your immunization,
Yeah,
that you don't have, and you've gone past those, 2 weeks
yeah,
afterwards, you don't have to wear your mask inside or outside. And they're hoping it's an incentive to get other people to get inoculated because, it's actually working, and they found that you're not gonna be asymptomatic carrying anything. So, you're free to at least move around and get back to where you were before.
Okay.
The only thing they're asking that people who do not have the immunization should wear a mask.
Yeah. And still distance.
So I'm gonna wear mine this meeting, and then hopefully at the end of the month, it'll be the end of our soft opening. Okay, so that's the end of that one. We have a state of New Hampshire special election warrant to sign for, the town clerk. We signed this information already. Okay. There's two originals. And, one original for the Board of Selectmen, so we're signing 3 copies here tonight. We're gonna have at the Dunbarton Community Center, 20 Robert Rogers Road, Tuesday, the 8th day of June, 2021, from 7 to 7, 7 AM to 7 PM. We're gonna vote for the state representative. So Linda will properly post this. Woody. Don't fall asleep on us over there.
I've been in touch with Fred.
You have, gonna set up the day before? Get you guys all set up?
Yeah, I spoke with him earlier today, so.
Is he gonna be the moderator?
Fred is gonna be the moderator in place, and John Trotter is gonna be there to, learn and listen and be an assistant moderator. So if Rainey's not there as selectman, we may have to sign him in, if they don't, swear him in. So Woody, you're all set up with your guys? I wanna say they did an excellent job at the last, primary there. Did a great job setting up and coming back and picking that all up, so we appreciate them doing that.
I didn't get that copy of the
Can I
1966.
know you're shorthanded, I wouldn't, if Ed wanted to come in and help that day, you could invite him if you wanted to, because he's trained, you've worked with him before.
I can ask him, but I don't think he will.
Okay, just,
Yeah, I'm gonna see him inside.
I don't want you to be shorthanded.
And then, speaking of Ed, you did ask him about, staying on Saturday, but at this time, he didn't seem to want to. Maybe when you do speak with him, ask him if he'd like to stay a town employee in case something happens, he could come back quicker than the whole waiting process. You wanna check with him on that.
I can ask him.
The same thing with the other guy there, okay? All right. That takes care of all of those items.
Sign ordinance.
What'd you say, Mike?
Sign ordinance.
And she can print a copy of it.
Okay.
We do have mailbox items to go through, but instead of doing that, why don't we, since there's nothing else on the agenda but the mailbox, why don't we take Woody's for an idea on the end? Okay, Mr. Patrick Bone, you can, bring up your issue.
So, everybody knows we're short staffed, big time. So, I'm gonna throw something out to you. I think it needs to happen. I mean, we've only been a week and a half without these guys are already seeing the effects of it. We're getting pummeled on Saturday.
Yeah.
We're still trying to catch up from Saturday. So, my thought is to close Tuesday. Close Tuesday and not reopen that swap shop. I mean, I'm getting complaints already from the employees about how they can't handle, what's going on.
Yeah, we're not, if you
You know,
don't wanna
when-
open that swap shop up for us, that's fine.
And, that thing about the Tuesday, just close it temporarily till we can get some help. I mean, we were supposed to have an interview on Tuesday, no shows.
So that interview that you had with the CDL guy never showed up?
No show, no phone calls, no nothing. Lean made contact with them, nothing. In all honesty, I think we're gonna have a real hard time filling. Just, like I told you, the money is unbelievable out there, and everyone knows it, it's not no big secret.
not the only ones.
No, that's.
I went through the thing, every town's looking for someone, there's no employable people out there. to
Oh, no,
be-
I agree with
You
you
know,
100%.
I mean, we were, and I gave you some sites, remember? To go look at, and you're looking, and whether it's public work employees, transfer station employees, everybody's looking for someone, and then you have some towns or cities that have collective bargaining agreements that pay really well, and they still can't get them, and they can't get the full-timers.
No, and I agree 100% with that. So,
You know,
my big concern is burning my staff out, cause we're basically doing the job that two other people would be doing, and, burning those guys out and burning myself out, and
Well, how many hours are they working now?
they have both had extra time this week, they're gonna be 26, 27 hours this week anyways. And I've actually felt a little resistance from them, given the
But I mean,
extra
you can
hours.
go up to 34.5 hours with those guys, right?
Yeah, but I'm actually getting some resistance on doing those hours, so it's a catch-22 either way. I bring
People
them in
really
earlier,
understand resistance on that little amount of hours.
come down and see the attitudes,
Huh?
come down and see the attitudes.
Now, what about, instead of closing Tuesday, working with those guys some of the off days to get caught up? Know what I mean? So you're not working during public hours, but you're getting the place caught up like,
Well, I'm gonna tell you, the other side of the coin that's happening is, you're gonna see some overtime this week in my check, you're gonna see about 12, 14 hours. And trucking is the big thing. I'm having to do my trucking on, I won't say it's 14, probably gonna be like 8 to 10. But the trucking, me being on site, where I had a foreman before that could take care of things, I'm having to come in on the next day to do it. If we was closed on Tuesday, we can do what we gotta do, get out of there, and I can leave. When they're done their day, I can go do my truck and come back, so I'm not staying in my 10-hour days and not having to come in super early on Wednesday.
what's your schedule now, your hours?
All over the place. Yeah, all over the
What
place.
do you normally?
Basically, I'm normally there 6:30 to 6 to 4:30,
On how many days?
4 days a week.
Monday, Tuesday,
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday.
Tuesday, Wednesday,
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday.
Thursday, Saturday.
But Wednesdays you close at night, right?
And Wednesdays I typically, on a normal day, I wouldn't come in till, be like 9:30, so it'd be 10, cause you'd be there till 8. I do a 10-hour stretch there. But it's getting pummeled with work, It's- you got 3 guys doing the job of what 4 and 5 guys are doing.
what if you reduce the Wednesday hours down to 6 o'clock instead of 8 o'clock and have it stayed open on Tuesdays only
I think
because?
them late hours are important hours though, cause they're.
Basically-
After work.
Yeah, Wednesday, basically, we're busy, I watched it last night, we were busy right till 7:30, and it was like, shut the faucet off. You might get 1 or 2 stragglers after that, but it was pretty much right till 7:30, it starts out about, you start getting a little busy, 1, 2, you'll get a little bit, die off a little bit while we're doing our lunches, and then 4 o'clock till 7:30 was pretty much
Let me ask you this,
barreling through, we're busy.
let's think this through backwards.
Yeah.
When you're on vacation, we pay a company to do the trucking.
Yeah, well, he's not gonna do the trucking. I guarantee it, cause I already asked him about doing the trucking. He's not interested in doing trucking. He'll do it for filling. I asked him about doing trucking. He's busy. We're busy, they're busy. He only has so many employees as well.
Who did you hire before to do the trucking?
We have, Zero Waste to do the trucking.
They're a waste of big company, right?
Yeah.
Why would you say he's not gonna do it then?
I already talked to him about it. I already spoke to him about doing trucking. He's not interested. He'll do fill-ins for us, but he has enough work of his own, keeping his own trucks running. You know what I'm saying? And what you're gonna pay for trucking, gonna be pricey.
Our trucking that we did when we were on vacation last time wasn't that pricey.
Right, that is a contracted price. Fill-in, he's not gonna do regular trucking on regular days for that same price, I can guarantee you that. I talked to him about
I
doing
know, but we're talking just filling during this period of time.
this period of time, I guarantee is gonna be late into the year, before you even try, like Bob said, there's no viable people. The sign, Lean's had it on Indeed, and you got, what, 2 hits, that's it. You know, it's been posted, it's on the website, it's all over the place, but she has it on,
NHMA?
yeah, NHMA, and like Bob said, there's tons of places looking. Really, it's gonna be a hard, if things was different, you'd be able to fill it, but we're in a tight spot. Real tight spot.
It may be, Woody, but you can't go all doom and gloom, because we've had the same conversation other years. Next thing you know, we have 5 applicants, so that may not be the case this year, but let's not be all doom and gloom, let's follow it through. And let's
So,
not
let me run this by you, when you run it like this, I have 5 weeks to take off, who's gonna fill in that spot?
Well, we'll have to worry about that when you schedule it, I guess.
This isn't a way to play this game, I'm just telling you, it's,
But we don't have the employee yet, so how do you want us to play the
It
game?
might be worth talking to the company, just to see if we can get a contract for a period of time, just to see if it is viable.
Yep.
If they say no, they say no, you already got that now anyhow.
Right.
So it's worth,
Doesn't
exploring
hurt
that.
anything.
But, cutting out the Tuesday hours, the concern I have is I've been there on Tuesdays when they're on. So all you're doing is pushing that onto Saturday and onto Wednesday. And so I don't know how you wanna play the hours, but I know the ones that can't get there, if you're closing, which 6 o'clock isn't unusual.
Right.
If they can't get there by 6 on Wednesday, they could probably make it Saturday, but you're gonna get rid of that waste stream that was coming in Tuesday and Wednesday, the majority of it.
We'll go on.
I don't know, a lot of people in this town get home at 6 o'clock and like to be able to run up there
yeah, I wouldn't wanna
between 7 and
change
8.
anything, like I said,
I
it was
wouldn't
busy
change that day.
right till 7:30 last night.
I would at least, offer more, like, request more hours out of the current part-time staff. That's, he can't be stuck doing overtime by himself. You gotta at least, if they don't, we gotta make him step up to the plate here.
Well, can I just share something? If you just compensated your 2 officers to step in time of need, is that something you can do for your others to pick up extra hours?
They're already, we're gonna get paid them for the more hours.
Well, maybe you wanna emphasize if they get more hours, they're gonna get that, a travel allowance, it's gonna increase.
I'll run it by him.
The thing is, before, I realize you have to work, you get overtime, but I think these guys should be at maximum, part-time level, working with you. And, there's no reason why we should be paying you overtime when these guys are sitting like, sit down and say, no, I don't wanna go to work. Well, we need you to go to work. And the thing is,
But it's not so much, I don't wanna say too much, cause then you get into
the nuance, yeah, I'm
the,
with you.
into that area of it.
But I'd say let's have the discussion with those employees, with those 2 employees, let's be specific, with 2 employees, and see if they can, help out. And then what about the gentleman, Mr. Nickerson, who was supposed to come out and help you on Saturdays, we paid him COVID money and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he's got a job as well.
Even on Saturdays, he can help out maybe for a couple of
I get him when I can on Saturdays.
Okay.
He has basically a full-time job, he's working all the time, I get him when I can,
Yeah.
you know,
Is there anyone else who was on, our recall roster, you might say?
that's it.
We had another older gentleman, Dave, that used to work down there, he doesn't work there anymore.
Oh, the thing is, I saw him the other day, he's having a tough time, walking.
Oh, I spoke with him, yeah.
He would've, if he was younger, he would've done it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what we get, and like Bob said, I think I'll come down next week and we'll call that company and double check with them about doing some trucking. I'd rather think outside of the box than close down on either Tuesday or Wednesday. As Bob said, it'll just make Saturday busier.
It gives him some release too. Yeah, I understand it's gonna cost you a little more money.
Right.
But it gives him some release, cause you won't have to worry about that part. And now you got hands-on in the facility,
And you say we don't have anybody down there for the management position, but the first person that we had, call on Indeed would have been a management position, so, I think that, we have the ad out there and we'll run it and see what we can't get. You never know, the right person looks at it at the right time. We just had a couple of people for the cleaning job in here, apply this week or show interest this week, we didn't think we were gonna get anybody right off, and, you know, that looks like that's gonna get filled up by somebody that likes it.
I wanna make sure you know that Ryan is no longer working housekeeping here.
Right.
So he's
I think that's-
available.
He's available for more hours for you. I wanna make sure, because you remember, we had a thing about
Right.
going over the number of hours, that should not be a limitation for him now.
You know, it's also a matter of convenience, if someone sees it and, you know, they're nearby and they're out of work,
Right.
it might be something they'll jump into, even if it's part-time.
So, the sooner you know your scheduled time off, the better off this year will be.
3 weeks in September and a week in August, that's 4 weeks so far.
All right, you got that scheduled in
I
right?
can give her the dates,
Yeah, should put that, I
it's
think,
already paid for.
we have a
everything,
leave
so.
slip that we typically fill out.
Okay. Let's get done so we can pre-plan for that stuff and at least get that all squared away.
You know, I foresee, worst case scenario, you're not available that week, we get an interim driver to pick up stuff, we have 2 people working down there, worst case scenario, I could see closing that week for a day. But not
You, 2 guys, just gotta tell you, 2 guys, that's a bad move, safety wise, right across the board, that's, you can't take lunches, cause they'd be gone, there'd be basically one person there for an hour by himself. And that's,
Yeah, we'll
That's
talk
asking
about
a
that
lot
when we
of
get to it. When it comes time for your vacation, if we need to, if we had to, we could close the facility for a week. I mean, we'll do what we gotta do at the time, but we're not there yet.
I just wanna make, give you a heads up. on
No,
what's
I
going on.
think
don't
it's-
wanna be the 12th hour, the 12th day, the 12th minute.
I salute
Here's the
you for that.
problem.
I salute you for that, it's rather than, a little advance notice is very helpful, so thank
I
you.
mean, I'll talk with the guys Saturday and, see what I can come up with.
Yeah, what's the limit, is it 30?
34 and a half.
34 and a half.
Hour and a half. But in this case here, they can get 40 and it wouldn't be considered
Permanent.
permanent, it's not a permanent position,
They're
it's,
20 hours under that right now, so.
yeah,
You have to figure that, even though there's a $300 a week bonus on unemployment, right now unemployment, because you had the availability of the shots, are starting to push people off, but they have a lot of unskilled workers. Those are the ones that are trying to get to work, and by being unemployed for over a year, you no longer have a wage range that you can get a job at. If you got done at $20 an hour,
Yeah.
and they send you out for $7.25, you have to go out and take that interview. That's how unemployment works, or you lose your unemployment. So right now, that's where they're at. You have a lot of unskilled workers, they don't have a lot of the skills to go to work. Of course, you've got some that have child issues, or restricted what shifts they can work because of that, so.
Right.
There's some plays here, so
Yeah.
sooner or later, we're gonna see some people moving, because if you look at the numbers right now, the numbers are dropping on unemployment. We had over 100,000 people collecting, you're down to less than 38,000 that are collecting now. And some of them are hanging on because of the $300, but we got to that point where if you didn't get the shot, that's your choice. And you end up having to go to
And
work.
$300 is going away September, the government announced today.
Yeah, but that's for those people that qualify to stay on.
Correct.
To collect the $300. Other than that, they're pushing people off of unemployment. You gotta go out and you gotta do the work searches and turn it in. And if you don't, they set you up with an interview somewhere, and you're gonna get whatever you get.
Okay, so talk with the guys, see if you can work them some more hours, give them additional hours if you can. We'll check with the trucking company, see if we get any relief there, and then we'll continue to work on that.
So
Now, you have your sign up,
Yeah, not much of a sign, I can try. to-
Oh,
it's on our website.
I see it,
But everybody sees that stupid thing, so.
I know.
I don't wanna take it, everybody sees it.
And Lean, you said we won't get in trouble if we go up to 40, and go up to 40 as a temporary measure. And temporary measure could be 3-4 months?
sometimes it's a whole summer season. It clearly says that you can, if the person is hired as a part-time individual and
Right.
they're asked to pick up additional hours, if it's a temporary increase of hours, it's not considered.
That'll give Woody a little more flexibility, if you can give him 40 hours, that would be, I think people might, they may jump at that. But if you don't know what to ask them.
Talk with them.
okay, and, where do we have it posted, in Indeed still?
Indeed still,
The marquee,
the marquee has it, the website has it, he's outside, I have an NHMA.
Yeah, I saw I was in two spots when I was online.
Yeah,
You wanna try the monitor, Lean, this week?
okay, put it in there, okay.
yeah,
I'll do it for a week and try
yeah,
it.
Bob and Woody both ran, I mean, I went online, the thing is, every town is looking for, every town is
That's crazy.
I think you're right though, Bob, I think,
Not just the town, every business.
No, that's what I'm saying, that's,
But we'll do what we need to do when it comes time, you got your vacation scheduled.
What happened to the old saying, we could shoot the messenger?
I know how to duck.
We'd be down one more employee. Thanks, Woody, we'll work with you, we'll get through it.
Alright,
Thank you.
Seems like we've been here before.
not this bad though, this is,
Oh, come on, you just wanted to swap shop that, I know.
Okay, that's done, I'm gonna go through some of this, mailbox items. You're all done with your items, Woody?
yes.
Hey, one thing, just one thing, you're not gonna open up a swap shop, correct? Yeah, that would be the better thing to.
Till we get fully staffed
Until we
again.
get some, you know, I wanna, there's one guy just getting pummeled.
Yeah, it isn't worth the effort right now, you know?
Before I get to the mailbox, I'm gonna go over the sign orders for the town of Dunbar, did you guys get a chance to review it?
Yeah, you know, I think I would agree with the former selectmen, unless they have some kind of change that they envision should take place. I think having a simplified sign ordinance is a lot easier than, there's a couple here that, you know, you might as well have an attorney go through it, there's enough pages.
It's like 8 pages of
You know,
sign.
It's just a lot, it just seems like a lot of fluff, you know?
Thing is, I think, we just gotta keep elected officials, they have to stick to the elected official, I mean, when they run for election, they have to, like, a week to take their signs down, they normally do. And they can't put them on telephone poles, right?
Without prior permission.
And, thing is, I think that keeping it simple, I don't think we have a major problem in this town at all.
I don't either.
But the thing is, I agree with Bob, I think we can reaffirm the former selectmen's, sign ordinance as written.
Okay, so Mike has made a motion to reaffirm the previous ordinance as written. Bob, you-
I'll second that, yeah.
Motion been made and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any discussion? Sorry, it's too late.
Hollis is the one that had the longest pages, just.
Okay, I'm gonna do that, keep that for my file. Okay. Going to mailbox items. We've got a notice from Central New Hampshire Regional Planning Commission for a hazard mitigation plan. This occurs every few years.
Can I go to the fire chief?
It's actually, it involves all the department heads, there's a lot of officials that participate in that. So it's no cost to the town, it's a contract with Central New Hampshire, they'll do all the lead work. The, only, cost to the town is the labor match. So by having the different departments participate in the meetings, it's their hourly rates, that's the match to allow us to.
Keeps the
move forward.
grant coming
Right,
forth,
we
right?
need, yeah, and so they get the grant, this keeps us in the loop for FEMA, for any, funding that we need, because it's required to have an updated, master plan.
I don't see a signature required here for us yet.
I think there's, should be one, or,
This looks like just a preliminary one, Lean, if you want. To get a signature page for us, we'll be happy to sign that, I guess.
Or I give, town administrator to sign on behalf of the town of Dunbar.
Yeah.
so you make a motion to go into this
Yeah.
contract with?
Let's make a motion to go into contract with Central New Hampshire Regional Planning Commission for a 2022 Dunbarton Hazard Mitigation Plan update. Motion's been made.
Before you make a motion, motion, can you continue to allow the town administrator to sign for the town of Dunbarton?
So as part of the motion, we'll have the town administrator sign, as a representative for the town of Dunbarton on it.
I'll second that.
Motion been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye. Yeah, just give me more work.
That one's a quick one, except for when the meetings go on.
Well, John, I recall in the past, the fire chief really helped with that a lot.
We did, but every department gets
Right.
involved with that, yeah, the road agent, town officials, I think the selectmen will get called on.
Dawn updated us to this earlier, but the cemetery trustees is providing a letter to the selectmen notifying of the trimming, for warrant article 15 that had passed this year.
I just wanna make sure that, as the money's expended, I need to make sure the town administrator, make sure that the cemetery trustees adhere to contract, regulations.
Yeah.
I don't wanna get them in trouble at all, I wanna keep them all above board.
I did make sure that on all of their things, that they get over 3 estimates, so. And you're right, they've gotta be within the warrant article amount, so, or lower.
Thank you, Dave.
Okay, we also here got a letter from the chair of the school board, Clement T. Madden, saying that, the landscaper has done a great job, mowing and cleaning up over at the school. He thanked the board for getting a qualified company, and, he said everyone's great.
I responded to one email, I think it's, that was,
I think
coming
it's
from them,
well.
it was a great news to hear.
Yeah, I had spoke with him about other items earlier, and I said, hey, did you get a chance to look, are they doing a good job? And he said, you know, I hadn't, and then that letter came a couple hours later, he looked through and looked at it, so that's good to see that that's working out. Okay, the next one, we've got a letter, stated to the chair of the Dunbarton Board of Selectmen, General John Stark Scenic Byway Council. Allison did call me a couple weeks before we got this letter, and says she does wanna stay as a member on it. And they're asking for a second member. I told her I would volunteer to go to the meeting with her. It says that we're allowed up to 4 people from the town of Dunbarton, but they would like at least 2 members from each town, to come to the next meeting. And the meeting date is June 15th, I'll put it in my calendar. Does anybody else wanna go with the selectmen?
I think it's, more than adequately represented. Overkill.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll plan on going to that, Lean, if you wanna make a note,
She could, and I think that's great.
yeah. Just figuring to give her some company at it, and if it doesn't look like something we need to spend a lot of time in, we won't.
And the only thing I've seen, from that is just the little street signs they put up along the way.
Lean, I'm gonna keep that, so I'll have it as a reminder, okay?
I haven't seen too many shotgun shells go through them yet either.
Yeah. Okay, we had a letter from the town clerk. Selectmen's offices in Northfield were closed due to a COVID outbreak. It does say the town clerk and tax collector will be, open intermediately during that time. I think this is just an FYI. We have 6 active cases in Dunbarton that I saw on the TV tonight. 2 were newer.
The only thing I would put out, we can put out anything, but would not, if you're immunized, if you're not immunized, please continue to wear your mask, if you're
Sure.
immunized. Then I would ask that you put on the, maybe, how you have the signs coming in?
Yep.
So if you're
I
not
think maybe
immunized,
we'll do that at the end of the month, Mike, we'll leave it masked now,
Yeah.
and, at the end of the month, we'll,
put those signs up.
yeah.
But if they're following the governor's order and they come in without a mask,
I'd say, let's not confront them.
no, okay.
Because we're just about, we're halfway through the month now, like, we know which direction we're going.
Right. Which is a good direction, hopefully. The next thing we have here, I think Lean wants to explain, she's got some MS1 totals. Estimated tax warrant increase revenue of 5.9 million, new assessments, 144,000, new revenue possible, 36-cent reduction in tax rate. You're talking for 10/22? I mean,
for 2021, that's our, potential increase for this year. So I ran my,
decrease, right?
no, unfortunately.
Increased revenues,
Increased revenues.
decreased taxes.
Slightly.
Okay.
There were proposed warrants that, are going to increase your tax rate, whether you wanna
Right, we
accept
had
it or not, but, so both my softwares are a match. I've run my warrant, I'll be processing, the tax bills with the tax collector's support. The revenue that we picked up for new revenue, pending any abatements, $5,936,236. Based on that, the potential for the, savings for the town, $144,013 is the new revenue for 2021, which equates to 36 cents. So if you look at the 2021, or 2020 tax rate, which was 22.28, we had a projected, 19-cent increase for the town portion, $1.79 for the school increase.
Mhm.
So estimated tax for 2021, assuming the state and county don't change, is $24.26. And reducing that by the 36 cents based on our new revenue, we could be looking at a new tax rate for, the end of this year at 23.9, which is a $1.62 increase over last year. So it sounds like we're picking up, this is one of the bigger years for new revenue. We've averaged like 4 million, 2 million, 3 million, so this is really a big year for us, for new revenue, but again, that's pending any abatements for utility
You
appeals.
can't, those are, it's unanticipated, in the sense that you can't really plan for those things.
For this is a given.
Right.
Right, but you're right, we can't base our projection for revenue on unknown new construction. That's
Right.
always a plus,
Right.
when we find out what the new construction has done for us.
I'll take 36 cents.
Yeah,
I think the residents would be very happy with 36-cent reduction.
yeah.
Doesn't hurt, right?
Yeah,
We already knew after the school passed, and ours passed at 18 cents, that, there was gonna be a slight, tax increase.
yeah.
Okay, we had a nice letter here, thank you, Lee. We had a nice letter here from the Conservation Commission in Dunbarton. They thanked us for all the work we did over on Kimball Pond Road to assist Scott Warner. And they thanked Lean Como and her office and our welfare department on helping him get out of the situation he was in that house, and, doing it in a respectful manner that, made the town of Dunbarton proud, because it's a good place to live, we treat people how we want to be treated, and took a little extra time getting him the storage facility he needed and helping him through that. And they thank you in here for Jeff Crosby and Dave Knoll to line up the, raising of the building.
And indirectly also Woody for bringing the dumpster.
Yeah.
It was team effort, it was true team effort on behalf of the town. I mean, there's a
And
lot
they're
of
gonna bring that property back into the, fold it back into the conservation area there now that that's been done, so it does look rather nice when you
It
look
looks
through there
beautiful,
now.
it really looks nice.
Looks cleaner and neater.
Yeah.
So that was a nice letter to get from them. Next thing here. The bench, I don't know how many people got a chance to see it, but there is a bench out there that's been installed in memory of Les Hammond.
They did it all this week, it was pretty awesome the way
Yeah,
they
they
worked.
have a crew there.
I only saw quickly going by, but it looks like it was landscaped beautifully around it and everything, it was, very nicely done. So that bench is installed and, it's got that, saying on it she had talked about, and it looks like it's done very well. So that was nice to see. Okay, we've got to sign some reconciliation reports for November and December of 2020. These have all been balanced out, Lean?
Yes, they have. I'm happy to say.
It's nice to see you smile like that.
How many weeks to take you to get them balanced out.
This company's been very helpful, and then, this coming year, we're gonna shift the work responsibilities a little bit to train Eric to be able to do this, so eventually we'll have it back in-house, and we'll use them as just a consultant for questions that come up, or minor issues.
Okay. Lean, did you forget to give me the, COVID and property claims surplus?
Did I not give you a set? Okay.
I'm
Oh, no,
at,
I've got a set, two sets of them, so I'll give you those.
all right. Same pages?
They're different. So the one on the right is the remaining COVID-19 grant that we had collected and.
Hold on, I have, they're both the same.
Oh, did I? Oh, yes.
You might have one.
Yes, that's right.
All right, so the first one we're gonna go over is the COVID money,
Yeah.
for the surplus COVID money from what we've just done.
So that's obviously not part of your current surplus. Not part of your anticipated revenue. So this is basically additional unanticipated funds that you can either let lapse into the surplus and or choose to put it towards reducing tax rate and use it for another.
So you have 44,610.52
Correct,
as a balance left over
yeah.
from our original Gopher grant of 47. There's like 3 Gopher grants up there, right?
It's actually, the biggest one was the 47.
Now we got 21 and 22.
Those were actually reimbursements for expenses, so we actually
Okay.
spent the money, but it is part of the total.
Okay,
The one thing that's not listed there is you guys just last week, or a couple weeks ago, approved, plexiglass dividers, which is gonna be another few $100.
you got somebody working on that?
Yeah, Greg's already got me a quote for the plastic, it's the thicker stuff, which doesn't flex. I've worked with both Judy and Linda, we've got a plan, I think they both are in agreement.
Greg's our handyman.
Yeah.
Could you do one other thing while I'm thinking of it?
Yeah.
I went to the town forestry committee meeting, and I noticed that in the fire department, the door going into the, restroom, up on the second, like the mezzanine floor there where they have their meetings, it's dragging on the ground. So if you could trim that door, that would be great.
And that's in the fire department?
Yeah. What do they call that room, the meeting room? So get in touch with Jeff Wigan, but a good half-inch off that door wouldn't hurt anybody. John Wigan, yeah. Good thinking, Bob.
His brothers.
All right, well, thanks for keeping us up to date with this,
Yep.
this Gopher grant, money for COVID-19.
When's our drop dead date where we have to make a decision whether we apply taxes or other expenses?
I'll be approaching you when I go to set the tax rate.
Which will be, we get time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't wanna I would recommend we not turn into general revenue until we get through this completely.
Yeah.
Right,
So
so
we
we
get
don't know
time.
what's gonna happen.
Right, because we always said that we wanna keep some of our first responders employed.
Well, for example, this approval of the 400, 200, where am I taking that money from?
That's, I was gonna come from this,
So you're gonna do it from this,
Yeah, COVID money, yep.
and any shortfall, which I'm just expecting right now, a shortfall in the part-time line.
Okay. The next thing we're gonna do is review, Kimball Pond Road, as we just spoke about raising that. We get a total revenue from that building, from the insurance company of $93,396.68, so 93,000 and change. And after all of the expenses have gone through on that, to demo the property, we're at 78,501.81. You got all the billing from Jeff?
Yep, that was right there, the 61.5. I'm still gonna verify the demo for the low recycling, that cost, but I think it's within it might be the accurate number, I just wanted to double check it.
And you took, Woody's labor out for the hauling,
Yep, it's right above it,
Yep.
704.
and stone to fill the foundation around there, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Well, that was about as cheap, I think, as the town could possibly get that taken care of, and that takes care of all of the rental for the hotel, as well as Page Street leasing, which, 6 months coming up on that.
I have told them I'm terminated at the end of May, so we're not renewing another month for June.
Okay.
And Page Street understands that, and I've given, the former tenant all the information and phone numbers and contact for them, and to work directly with them to get that.
Have you talked to him personally?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, great. I wanted to make sure we didn't drop the ball on that.
Nope.
So that's a good revenue stream there that we're gonna have,
That'd be good to apply for taxes as well.
Yeah.
But the thing is, are we missing anything from the state that should be coming, or, I mean, for this
I
year?
haven't heard of anything, you mean like rooms and meals and
rooms and meals and
highway?
also the highway, but we should have the regular highway stuff.
Highway for the first 2 months is set.
Okay.
The last, first 2 payments are set from the prior year. So the third and fourth, which is technically the state's first and second, those are still estimated.
Okay.
So I haven't heard of any.
Yeah, I say we don't go off and spend it right off.
Bob, that's for Lee's pile.
Okay.
Okay, I think that's all set. Mailbox items are complete. I'm gonna bring it out for public comment again.
Yeah, what Don here reminded me, I don't know if you guys are aware, a couple of the members of the defunct, Hearst Restoration Committee got in touch with Jan Vanderboogart. He's gonna look at the Hearst to assess the damage, he's gonna fix it, the damage caused from the leaking roof.
Yep, they came to get some keys, I think, from us.
Okay, right, just so you guys knew that this is going on.
Yeah, Donna did CC us, after she lined up.
It's great.
Great.
Yeah, we really appreciate him doing that work, that'll be good to keep that up. Woody?
Just, actually a question from Lean, on that, Cubble Pond project, you pulled out my fuel costs as well?
You didn't give me any,
We haven't had the readings yet anyways, it's 78 gallons of fuel.
okay, then we'll have to add it to it.
Yeah,
It's not a lot, but
No.
Might as well get it all.
99 cents a gallon,
how much?
99 cents a gallon.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That's the only question I have.
Okay.
Okay. All right, bringing it back from public comment, I'm gonna bring it back to the town administrator, you have anything else for the board?
No.
Okay, Bob?
Well, no, the only thing I have to bring up is the fact that, and I guess we're not the only town, there's no town that provides New Hampshire municipal with their sheets of what the wages are in their town. So what we've had to do is go online and start to hit whatever we could hit. You know, helter skelter, really.
Yeah.
But we got quite a bit, I was surprised at some of the information I got online, but there's stuff out there.
There is, okay.
And the thing is, I talked to Bob about that, because I was sort of looking for information too, specifically about the police department salaries.
Yep.
And, I looked at several search engines, rather than, the municipal association let me down in the sense that I thought there'd be more of a resource, and they really didn't pan out. And I ended up going to other resources for, my first impression, I thought we're giving an honest wage to the police, incoming police chief. And as a corollary to that, I thought the negotiations with Sergeant Remenard, 1 hour was done.
Yeah.
It was a little give and take on a few things, but, I knew where I had to go, keeping a reasonable budget, and I thought I did.
Yeah.
And, but overall, I concur with Bob, we don't really have a good resource for comparing salaries. We have to go through like all these search engines for, which
Yeah.
have commercial. They say, one search engine, you can tell how flawed they are. A $110,000 average police chief salary across New Hampshire.
Well, I know that in the past, I have, had other towns reach out to me and ask me for a list of salaries for town officials in our town. Just because it's a more honest, it's a right to know request, you should provide it, it's nothing that you want.
It's in our town book.
It's unfortunate though that they don't fill out the survey,
Yeah.
the answer municipal, and then you could go to the one
Yeah,
spot,
yeah,
one
yeah.
resource. Cause what you do now is, sometimes you have to rephrase what you're looking for to get to exactly what you wanna have. You know, when you're going with the search engines on the computer, where you could go there and get the resources, even if it was only a couple of dozen towns, and you could compare the sizes and what they're paying, you'd have an idea, you know, but.
I gave a recommendation to the clerk who was running, I was talking with in NHMA. And I said, you really, when you have your annual meeting, you gotta really push that to the people who are there and coming to that meeting at their annual NHMA, their meeting, they have yearly, but they have to really push that, because if they don't ask for it, I mean, yeah, you get a little email, but it goes to the bottom of the bucket.
There's a lot of emails that come.
Well, it would
in.
really help, for the towns to have a reference too, you know?
Well, what happens too is when you go to the search engines, like I've gone to the PALRB board for a lot of them, cause a lot of them are either signed with ASME, the chemical workers, or the Teamsters. So when you're looking at that picture, it's different than going to a town that has just a personnel plan.
Mhm.
Cause they have collective bargaining agreement, and the others don't,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Okay, so that's it from you two?
Yep, and, thank you for allowing me to work with that, with the Senator Armstrong.
No, you did a great job, we appreciate your help with that, Mike. I went, as Woody can tell you, to the, town forest committee meeting for my annual, request for the trees on the common. And, I did get I think, a little bit more positive response than, in previous years, and I think that Fred is gonna crack the book for us. We're gonna look at doing, 2 new trees, hopefully this spring. I'm gonna call and get pricing from 3 or 4 companies. One was the one that you just used for your house. But a couple of the commercial guys, and we're gonna get prices from them to provide hopefully, a maple tree that's somewhat resistant. And also have them install it, so it's installed professionally, and hopefully we get a little bit longer warranty with that installation being done professionally. So we're gonna try and do that, and then, next year, we're gonna work on, after we square away getting this tree taken down on the corner, replacing this corner tree. And if need be, if Jeff doesn't.
We're gonna wait for that, we're not gonna take it down?
No, we're gonna take it down this year, but we won't
Okay.
replace it,
Okay,
that tree until the following year, because we'll have to have the roots grind and
Yeah.
everything on there. We don't wanna pull a root system if it affects the tire, so Jeff's gonna look into all that. So,
and we have septic lines going across the street too?
yeah, they're a
That's
little
also
further
in
over.
this building.
So that's done. Woody, I wanna thank you for all your additional help and work there while we're going through this sketchy situation down there. And we will get through it, just keep positive with it. Do you get paid for your overtime? You're on salary? You're hourly, so you get paid for your overtime, okay? I wanted to make sure of that. And,
Now, do part-timers get overtime if they go over, how much?
Over 40.
Over 40.
That could be an incentive too. Because it's temporary, is for the summer maybe.
but anyway, I wanna thank you for your additional work. Like I said, it's gonna be trying for you all next month or so, till we fill some of those positions, and I have faith that we will fill them eventually. So, we'll go with that, and, that's all I had for the board.
And we'll let the public know that you wanted to swap shop, but the selectmen turned you down.
I will make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 8:04. Hey, that's a new record.
You need a second though.
We're not gonna second until the 15th now. Motion's been made,
Second, then.
seconded by Bob, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.